Welcome back to the Talk Yours podcast, and today we're changing things up a little bit because we are 8 weeks out from the start of the NFL season. And in the spirit of this, there's 8 divisions in the NFL, so every week we're going to be giving our predictions for one of the divisions. And we figured let's start geographically. Let's start with the NFC East. This is a division that gets a lot of attention every year. Obviously, you got a lot of big markets. You got Philadelphia, you got Washington, you got New York, you got Dallas. This was the division that last year there were some surprises. There were some, not so surprising things. I think the Eagles being good was not very surprising to a lot of people.
Not at all.
Washington was
Very
a
surprising.
huge surprise last year. Dallas, not good. I think there's a lot of people where if you actually watch football and you don't hate watch, you might have been surprised by it. But so many people hate watch the Cowboys that I feel like people acted like they weren't surprised.
Yeah.
And New York was bad, like everyone expected. So really, it's a really interesting division. All of these teams made moves in the offseason, as every team does. I think that's one of the beautiful things about the NFL is you have 55 guys on a roster. You go into the preseason with 90 guys on a roster. So you have so many guys to bring on and so many spaces to fill. So there's constantly hope because you're constantly able to fill your needs and fill your gaps. I'm excited for football season, and I say that as a Raiders fan. So I know how that sounds. It sounds psychotic, and I am because I'm a Raiders fan. There's really nothing else I can be. But yeah, we're starting as far away from the Raiders as we can get in the eastern part of the United States, which is where I want to be right now. And with that being said, we're going to be giving our rankings. I say let's start at the bottom. Let's start at 4 and go to the top. So, at number 4, Corby, who do you have?
I have the Giants.
I have the Giants too.
I actually don't think it's really close. Honestly.
Yeah.
This might be the easiest spot to put, maybe besides one, maybe, but Giants didn't really do much. They're still gonna miss Saquon Barkley. Their quarterback their quarterback's
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
They have a quarterback room, to say the least. They have Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart in their quarterback room.
So it's a bunch of guys where maybe you give them each a chance, maybe one of them hits, I guess. But I mean, Russell Wilson, you kind of know what you're getting. It's not great. It's not.
Jackson Dart is a rookie, right? So they're going to let him sit behind these guys, I presume, this year. Russell Wilson is an improvement over their quarterback situation from last year, but he's just not the game changer he once was. He is a game manager, if anything. And obviously Tom Brady was the greatest game manager, but he's, Russell Wilson isn't even a game manager in that way.
No.
Jameis Winston is such a consistent wild card that you could almost book him for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 25 interceptions if you start him this year. Is that good? No. Is it entertaining? Yeah. People will come to watch that. And maybe that's all you want if you're New York right now. But yeah.
Yeah. I'll give him 3. I'll give him 3 wins.
3 wins?
They're not a good.
That's what they got last. Okay. So I'll give them a little bit more than that. I'll just give my whole dictation on them right now. 30th in total offense last year, 28th in passing, 23rd in rushing, 31st in scoring, 4th in punts kicked while being 28th in net average. The one thing they got going for them, their defense was not as bad as the Cowboys last year. And that I think really is the strong point of this team when you look at them. You have Dexter Lawrence, who is one of the top 2, I would say, interior defensive linemen in the NFL. He's right up there with Chris Jones. You have Brian Burns, who was a really great pickup last year. Linebacker, edge rusher from the Panthers, had, I think, 8.5 sacks last year. And you just added Abdul Carter to that line. And Abdul Carter was far and away the best pass rusher in this year's draft. And he is poised to join a group where he is not going to have to compete with double teams on the line because Dexter Lawrence is almost certainly going to be receiving those double teams. And it positions them really well to have a really excellent pass rush. Malik Neighbors is a great talent at wide receiver. Tyrone Tracy showed flashes. Devin Singletary is a good third down back. And Cam Skattebo is a wild card. But, I mean, after what he showed in the college football playoff, that dude can play. That dude can play. So I think he's a guy that could develop. Jackson Dart's another one of those guys that could develop. They're just a couple years away, I think. I don't know what else I had written.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll just go ahead and say I think they're a couple years away too, and I think not that this is one of the toughest divisions ever, but I just don't see them winning very much in their own division, and I think eventually they'll get to the point again where they'll just start trying to lose near the end.
Yeah, I really see them going 1-5 in their division, very likely. Who they pick that game up against could be anybody. But they unfortunately are in a very tough division. But I think outside of their division, they can pick up some wins. I think it really just depends on where they're at the end of the year, whether you throw Jackson Dart out there or not. I wouldn't. They had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL last year. You throw them out there, that's essentially suicide. So I would wait. I would wait to build up that offensive line and let Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston show you if they can do anything. And let Jackson Dart sit behind those guys for a year. Historically, it's always been better for these quarterbacks to sit behind somebody for a year and learn. So you're in no race. You're not going to make the playoffs this year, most likely, unless one of these guys really takes off, unless Cam Scadaboo or Tyrone Tracy really has like an amazing season at running back and your offensive line play is a lot better.
And I like Tracy, but I don't think he's going to,
No, I mean,
carry this team to wins or anything.
No. He's a solid back, but yeah, Malik Neighbors is their star on offense, and even then, like I said, they ranked, what was it, 30th in passing last year, 28th in passing. So they ranked 20th in passing with one of the best rookie wide receivers in the NFL, probably the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL. So they're a couple years away. I think if Jackson Dart develops, if you give Malik Neighbors a couple more years to refine his game, Abdul Carter. The big question mark is Dexter Lawrence. Do you trade him this year and try to get resources out of him? Because the NFL is very different than the NBA in terms of being a couple years away. Guys come and go out of their primes like that, right? Injuries and things like that happen very quickly. You do not get to be a couple years away just because you have some rookies on your team. Rookies sometimes produce the best in their rookie season.
Yeah.
So you really have to capitalize when you have to capitalize. So, Dexter Lawrence getting traded for assets is something I could see happening because you can't afford to be like he's going to be good 2-3 years from now. And they need a lot of secondary help. I think Javon Holland is a guy who, if he can come back to the form he was in his first couple of seasons, he could be a really valuable addition in the secondary at safety. But they don't have any corner play that you really want to hang your hat on. And when it comes right down to it, they have a weak offensive line and they have a weak secondary, and those are two things that are huge, glaring holes. And that's why they were bad last year, and they didn't really do a ton to address that in the offseason. So they got more talent. But I think they really just strengthened their strengths in a lot of ways. What there was to be a strength. So, yeah, not a ton to say about the Giants. Not a playoff team.
No, I'm not gonna say anymore.
I'll give them 5 wins.
5 wins. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with 3. The Cowboys at 3. I think it's actually kind of close. I'm not too confident in this pick, honestly. I'm kind of giving the Cowboys around like 7-8 wins. I still think they're super solid. I mean, Dak Prescott's still a good quarterback. He's not one of these top 6-7 guys that's going to absolutely carry an offense. Mm-hmm. They did get, who was the wide receiver they got again in the offseason?
George Pickens.
He's really good.
He's a baller.
They already have CeeDee Lamb, guys like that. And it's the Cowboys. At the end of the day, they're never going to be super bad or anything. Wait, what were they last year? Because that was a pretty bad year.
They were 7-10, I believe, last year.
7-10, and that was like a pretty bad year. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like low key. Like my second favorite team kind of is the Cowboys, just because it's America's team. Like I
mean, yeah, but it's the Cowboys.
I know. It's like
I don't know. I'm not
when they're doing good. I feel like that's when the NFL's on top. Like when the Cowboys are winning.
Cowboys fans suck, man.
But that's why you gotta love them. That's why,
I actually love Cowboys fans. Like one of the best people I've ever worked with was a Cowboys fan. But dude, those fans have an ego on them.
Oh, it's like Knicks fans.
Except it's worse because they can actually go like 6 Super Bowls, even though their last playoff win was their last Super Bowl was in 1995.
Yeah, but at least it's not made up full of New Yorkers who are super obnoxious.
We're New York, we're the best, the Yankees.
It makes it worse when it's New York, but Dallas. Honestly, a lot of Cowboys fans aren't even from Dallas. They're just
because it's America's team.
It's America's team.
It's a lot of people that are just
it's a lot of different personalities. Yeah, it's a lot of.
It's kind of cool. Yeah,
it's a lot of casuals. I mean, sometimes the casual fans are the better fans.
I'm kind of surprised Joey is not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, him being a Raiders fan. Well, he's a Mahomes fan, so I don't know. He's a fan.
How are you a Raiders fan and a Mahomes fan?
Let him live his life. But overall, yeah, I still think they're talented. I want to put them super high, like Loki being a fan, but they're just going to disappoint again, like they always do.
I would give them 9 wins this year.
Okay.
Personally, somewhere between 8 and 9. I think 9. I have them having a winning record this year, and they're a borderline, maybe make the wild card or something. Let me start with the positives because there is one glaring negative I want to really get to with the Cowboys. So the Cowboys added Dante Fowler Jr. and they added Kenneth Murray Jr. to their defense. Those are two really good additions. They bolster the pass rush. They allow Micah Parsons to not potentially receive as many double teams, or even if he does, you have a guy who got 10.5 sacks last year on the other side. That being said, it was a breakout season for Dante Fowler Jr., so if he can replicate that production is a big question mark, but he still should be a solid pass rusher and draw some attention from defenses. Kenneth Murray Jr. is a good run-stopping linebacker. They lack a little bit of coverage in their linebacking core, but they make up for it with talent at the cornerback positions. Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland are both really solid corners. They're guys that get burned sometimes, but they're guys that also make really tremendous plays. So it's a give and take. They had one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year, and they really went about trying to fix that in terms of the guys they got. So 28th in yards allowed, 31st in points allowed, 29th in rush yards allowed. Bad. Really bad defense. Like one of the worst, if not the worst. Their pass defense was a lot better than their run defense last year. And so I do think their pass defense will still be good, and I think their pass rush is still going to be good. The problem is they didn't add any interior defensive linemen, so I don't really see their run defense getting a lot better. And then just some other stuff. I do like their offense. I do think they have a talented offense. I think Dak Prescott is still a borderline top 10 guy. I think CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens is a great wide receiver duo. Here's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. And it's something people made fun of right away when the offseason started, and it's something that I think people should still make note of. Their coaching is questionable, to say the least. Brian Schottenheimer is their current head coach. He was their offensive coordinator last year, and people did not like him as their offensive coordinator. And when I say people, I mean Dallas Cowboys fans. These fans were not happy when he got hired as the head coach, because their whole thing was they were going to go out, they were going to find somebody, and their offense was not great last year. They had an average offensive line in the 6th worst running game, which is why they brought in Clayton Adams. He's a guy with an offensive line background in Arizona, and he had a really successful time there as an offensive line coach. They had a top 10 run game. They had the 4th best run game in 2023, and they were really solid in pass protection as well. But yeah, he doesn't have a lot of play calling experience, which means that the offensive play calling is still likely going to fall to Brian Schottenheimer. And given what he showed last year, it's not something that I would be totally confident in. Right? Their defensive coordinator is Matt Eberflus. Now, Matt Eberflus had a very rough time as the head coach of the Bears. Maybe he can do something now that he is going to be out of that head coaching role and back into a play calling role where he has shown success in the past. But also, I mean, that dude was just out of his element last year, and sometimes your confidence gets shaken. And I think it's a very underrated aspect of the NFL. A lot of the time we talk about free agent additions. A lot of the time we talk about players. Coaching might be more important in the NFL than in a lot of other sports. Like play calling and coaching, it is a very militaristic game in a lot of ways, and having things work from the top down is so important. Obviously, the players go out there and make the plays, but coaching, scheming, all that stuff is so important in the NFL. And frankly, I don't trust the coaching and scheming of the Cowboys to be better than the coaching and scheming of the two teams above them, which is why, even though I think their talent level is comparable to that of Washington, I think the coaching difference is very stark. And I think that's why Dallas is going to finish 3rd. I think that's why they're going to finish with 9 wins, and I think that's why they're going to barely miss the playoffs.
Okay. Do you think that the coaching? So if Dallas had a better coach, they have the talent to outdo a team like Washington? Or
I think they
probably
do.
not Philadelphia.
I mean, you look at who Washington has at offensive coordinator, leagues better than who Dallas is going to have at offensive coordinator, or calling their offensive plays most likely. Cliff Kingsbury is not a great offensive coach. Or sorry, not a great head coach. He's a tremendous offensive coach. He is a great offensive mind. You saw that with Washington last year. I think he's going to continue to do that this year. We can get into them in a minute. But yeah, I just, the coaching difference is just very stark. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. I would say he's maybe a little bit below a Jada McDaniels tier, but I'd say they're on a similar level. I would say Dallas has the better wide receivers. Dallas has the better edge rusher. Dallas just took Washington's best edge rusher from last year in Dante Fowler Jr. I would say Washington has the advantage at linebacker. I would say cornerback-wise, Dallas probably has a bit of an advantage. So talent-wise and offensive line play in Dallas has always been really important. They always emphasize that. And I think their offensive line, even though it was average last year, will be really good this year with the addition of Clayton Adams at offensive coordinator. But, the coaching difference and the play calling difference is so dramatic. I just don't see a way Like, I think talent-wise, if they had the same coaching, I think Dallas might be better this year. But coaching matters a lot in the NFL.
Yeah.
It matters a lot. Next team, hinted at it. It's the Commanders. I got a lot to say about them. Do you want to get off anything before I break?
I mean, Jaden McDaniels, we saw in the playoffs, is a stud, is a killer. Offensively, they were great. It was just their defense that kind of held them back in the playoffs, and they kind of just expanded on what they did the previous offseason. They signed more veterans. They're really buying in, and I think I probably I have them around probably 12 wins. I think.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably do the same as last year. I do think, while I just don't know how much to trust it, because them being really good, and it showed in the playoffs.
It feels odd.
It feels weird. It could just be a one-off thing,
And that's the scary thing is for Washington, it has been one-off a lot of years.
Yeah.
You think about RG3, you think about even years that they had with Alex Smith where they were decent, or Tyler Heineke. Taylor Heineke, not Tyler Heineke.
Tyler Heineke.
I don't know how I just did that, but Taylor Heineke, absolute dog, by the way. I would call him the Michael Porter Jr. of Baker Mayfield's.
With the Michael Porter Jr. of Baker Mayfield's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I call him that. But with Washington, I do think they did a lot to bolster their roster and buy in. You got Laramie Tunsil, who is a really good offensive lineman. You drafted an offensive lineman 29th overall, tackle, and Josh Connerly. You went and got Deebo Samuel, who, even though he's not the threat that he was a couple years ago, he's still a great second option to have on your offense. Certainly better than what they had last year. No disrespect, but you open up more space for Terry McLaurin that way, and Scary Terry is scary when he's got a real quarterback thrown to him. Let me tell you that much.
Yeah.
Their linebacker tandem is still really good in Luvu and Wagner. Wagner obviously isn't the coverage guy he used to be, but I think they're both still great run stoppers. The obvious question for me is in the back end with the safeties and the cornerbacks. And one of the big things that helped them last year was they got a really good pass rush, especially from guys like Dante Fowler Jr. But obviously he's gone, so now you're going to have to find that elsewhere. They got a new defensive coordinator, Joe Witt Jr., and he said that they're very confident in the fact that they're going to be able to replicate that production, whether it's going to come from one guy having a breakout year or just a scheming thing. He feels pretty confident. Of course he does. I mean, all NFL coaches do this, and they're preseason, whatever, off-season pressers, and they express a ton of confidence because they should. But yeah, I think even with some of the maybe concerns about the lack of explosive talent in the back end because they don't have this great corner or great safety, they do have a really good secondary, a really solid secondary, and if they can work in tandem with their pass rush, they're going to be really good because they were the third best passing defense last year with regards to yards per game. And even though they're without the 10.5 sacks of Dante Fowler Jr., I feel like they still have a lot of, potential. And at the end of the day, it's Jaden McDaniels. The team goes as he does. And I think the concern is obviously, well, what if he has a CJ Stroud type of year where he falls off a little bit in his second year?
Yeah.
That's definitely going to hurt the team. I don't feel like he will, because watching him play last year, he is just the picture of poise, right? And that's not something you say a lot about these escape type quarterbacks where they get out of the pocket and invent and run around, but he is always so poised and so able to make the right call. That's why his completion percentage is so high. That's why his interception rate was so low. He just is one of those guys that doesn't get rattled. And let's remember, we saw him in 3 playoff games, and Philadelphia beat the brakes off them. But that's also just because Philadelphia is that good. In the 2 other games against Detroit, he looked really good. He looked really poised, and he did what he had to do.
Like a 7-year vet, honestly.
You really,
he
yeah.
Play like a rookie.
So, yeah, I think they're not going to challenge for the division necessarily, but I see them winning between 10 and 11 games. I say between 10 and 11, like they're going to win 10.5 games. They're going to win 10 or 11 games is my prediction. They're going to make the playoffs. And another thing I'm interested to see, Cleveland Farrell. He's a guy who the Raiders drafted 4th overall. Whether or not he should have gone 4th overall is a big question, but he was definitely a first rounder. He's never had success with the Raiders. He's on Washington now, so honestly, for him, here's to hoping he can have a breakout year like Dante Fowler Jr.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got to say about Washington. I feel like they're a very similar team to last year. I think Cliff Kingsbury is a great offensive coordinator. I think Dan Quinn is a great head coach, or not a great head coach, but a good head coach. And I feel like in the role that they're in with the team, I think they're gelling right now, and I think they're gonna, surprise the team again in the playoffs.
Yeah. And then my number one team,
It's
the Eagles.
easy.
The Eagles are winning the division. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Not only were they like nearly flawless last year, but to be honest, they kind of deserved more wins. Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, you can tell Cam is way more of a football fan nerd than me. But I really pay attention when the season comes. It's just like during the offseason, I do like forget everything that happened the previous season. One thing I do remember though is the Falcons playing the Eagles, and the Eagles should have beat the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons won that game.
Yeah, because Saquon Barkley had an open touchdown pass. It was like a 5-yard. No, it was like a 2-yard pass.
Yeah.
I think it was 4th down. If he caught it, he would have easily just run into the end zone. He dropped it. A wide open pass.
And that happens, but also like, given what that's why scheming and everything is so important, because like at the end of the day, you expect those guys to make that play.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, obviously they still have Saquon Barkley. The Giants could definitely use him.
Yeah.
But they still have Saquon's going to be a killer again. He's the best running back in the league by far. Jalen Hurts, dog.
I don't know about. He's the best running back in the league. I don't know about by far.
Who'd be next?
Derrick Henry.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I was hoping to say Bijan. No, but yeah, the Eagles, I mean,
Not yet.
naturally they're going to lose some talent. But just overall, they're still really good.
No, they are still really good.
A lot of Georgia Bulldogs, which makes a very good player, or very good team.
Yeah. They lost, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, James Bradbury, and Darius Slay, who are all big names.
Right.
So you look at it and you're like, damn, they really lost like some guys. But they got Cooper DeJean and they got Quinion Mitchell. Like, those were the best. That might have been the best rookie tandem last year. Not even defensive, not even cornerback, rookie tandem last year. Those guys were great in the back end, and playing corner in the NFL is hard. So to come in your rookie year and play it at that level and have two of those guys like that, yeah, I'd give up those other guys too, because those are your two guys of the future, and they were probably better last year than those other guys anyway.
And they're white.
I don't think Quinion Mitchell is white.
Oh wait, who's the other? Don't the Eagles have
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean is white, and they have another safety who's white.
Oh, okay. It's just some.
But
Okay.
I don't think Quinion Mitchell
Quinion
is white. If he is, I mean, what a name, man! What a bold choice by his parents.
Dude, when I was working at the gym, I saw an Asian dude named Deshaun.
Really?
So
Is it
you
like
can never
spelled like
judge a book.
Deshaun? Like, or do you know?
It's like Deshaun.
Oh, so it's just spelled like Deshaun.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
So I mean, you can never judge
You
a name.
can
I guess.
never really, I
but
guess.
no,
But-
yeah,
Yeah.
their defense is still amazing.
They also signed Adoree Jackson, who is a solid pickup in the secondary.
Yeah.
They have Jalen Carter, and that dude's a monster.
Monster, bro.
Monster. But yeah, they also went out and bolstered their defense with Jahad Campbell and Andrew Makuba in the draft, 31st and 64th overall, respectively, linebacker and safety. They re-signed Zach Bound. I think his first name is Zach Bound or whatever, however you pronounce his last name. They re-signed Saquon. They set themselves up for the future. Offense is the same. Offensive line is the same. They are just a team that is going to beat you on the line every single game. Like, you put them up against any team in the NFL, they're going to beat you on the offensive line and they're going to beat you on the defensive line, right?
Yeah.
They're just bigger and stronger. And they signed, this was such an underrated signing too. They signed A.J. Dillon in the offseason. Do you know who that is?
I've heard of him.
Yeah. Let me just show you a picture of this dude real quick. If y'all know who A.J. Dillon is, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
The Quad Father.
Yeah.
Is that his nickname?
That's his nickname.
Wait, really?
That's actually his nickname. They call him the Quad Father. This dude is a goal line back if I've ever seen one. So you want a way to save Saquon's bullets and make sure that he doesn't get injured during the regular season? Yeah, putting a guy like that on the goal line is a way to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they also had another back that I'm forgetting, but yeah, no, they just have a really good offense, a really good defense. They're really physical. They stuck with their identity in all their signings. They're poised to be contenders to repeat next year.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty easy.
Yeah.
If I had to give odds, I think they should be probably like minus 250
Yeah.
to win the division.
Yeah.
Is that even low? That might be low.
That might be low. I mean, we'll see. I'm curious to see. I'd give them 14 wins. I know we didn't say it yet. I'd give them 14.
Oh yeah, I'd give him. I think 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
14 sounds right. 15.
15's just hard.
Yeah, 15's hard.
We saw how the Chiefs got to 15 wins, and it required like 8 games of devil magic.
8 games of just pure insanity luck. and just things like the craziest missed field goals and stuff. No.
Yeah. So the Eagles are minus 150 to win the division. So that wasn't even low.
Wow.
That almost feels low.
Yeah, I would take that. Minus 150.
Yeah, but also the NFL is. There hasn't been a repeat winner in the NFC East in 20 years.
Really? Oh, yeah, I think I saw something like that.
Yeah.
And I think this next year is the year they break
I think
it.
it's the year it happens.
Yeah.
So anyway, this might have been a little boring. It's just the same standings as last year. But honestly, all these teams did pretty equivalent, or not equivalent things, but like, I don't know. The Eagles are still really good. Washington has better coaching than Dallas. And Dallas is, it's Dallas, man. And New York, they're just the bottom feeders of the division right now. That's just how it is. There's just, those teams that are bottom feeders. There's the Giants, there's the Browns, there's the Raiders. So
not my team. My team is too mid.
Yep.
Every year.
Every year, 8-9 or 9-8.
Yep. That's
a coin.
always fun. So yeah, other divisions should be definitely more of a fight, and we'll have our disagreements. But it's the Eagles, dude. Come on, they just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. We're starting geographically. The next Division 2 is probably going to be one where there's not a ton to look at, though there might be a little bit of shuffling in the middle grounds. But yeah.
Yeah.
Once we get into the central part of the United States, that's where it starts to become a fight. So, no, I'm really excited for football season to start again. I'm really excited for NFL Red Zone to come on my TV every Sunday.
Yep.
I'm excited to box score watch for fantasy, and I'm excited to lose my voice on Sundays screaming at Geno Smith this year.
I can't wait for no Falcons to be available in the fantasy draft for me.
When Bjorn takes them all again,
I got to take Kyle Pitts again. Are you kidding me? Like that's the only.
Oh, dude, what is it up with the Falcons and having super physically talented guys who just never pan out?
I mean, for a while it was bad coaching.
Arthur Smith.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to blame everything on Arthur Smith.
I would too. You seen that guy?
Yeah, I don't like him.
I feel like he's a scapegoat. He's got a look of a scapegoat about him.
But he's made some very questionable calls. Like I said, I actually like the second. I need to get better at this. The second an NFL season ends, I forget everything that happened. Even though Arthur Smith was 2 years ago. But
the problem is the NFL season's like 4 months.
Yeah, it is.
Like literally, it's like 4.5 months, and then it's over.
34% of the year.
Yeah.
And then the other 66 you're just waiting.
Yeah, you just have lots of time to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right.
You guys enjoyed? Which one are we doing next?
Next, we're gonna be doing the AFC East because we're going geographically. So. Okay. I wonder who we're gonna have winning that division. But
yeah, if you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and peace.